Since its inception, the Jedi Order has exemplified dedication to protection, selfless service, and commitment to balance and justice in the galaxy. It's not debatable that from the beginning, the founders of the Jedi Order, among them the Masters, Rajvari, Garon Jard, Kalavrin, and Tersenden, founded this order based on principles rooted in wisdom, compassion, understanding of the Force, and as a way to respond to the evil that was roaming the galaxy, threatening the various planets and their inhabitants. The hope that the Jedi Order exuded towards the beings of the galaxy was a well-deserved feeling. Each Jedi within the ranks represented hope and a guiding figure for countless generations. From the outside, no matter how neat and controlled the Order appeared, throughout history and within the Order, there was apparently something that didn't quite fit with the binomial between the Order together with its rules and codes, and on the other hand, the understanding of that individuality and curiosity that comes from birth innately in each initiate, Padawan, and Jedi Knight. The numerous generations of Jedi that passed throughout history, no matter how sensitive to the Force they were, at their most basic level were all beings with fears, curiosities, feelings, aspirations, and in the face of these, for some, a total centralization of the study of the Force by characterizing it in a dichotomy of light and dark sides without shades of gray was too much for that individuality of the Jedi. The dilemma continues when the Jedi Code, since the initiated stage, has instructed them to have complete control and have no emotional connections to anything. The Jedi Order's inclination toward a total conception of balance, focusing solely on suppressing the dark side of the Force, remained a constant within the Order. This mentality, attempting to completely eliminate an intrinsic part of the Force's nature, caused tensions both within and outside the Order. By rejecting the dark side rather than understanding and handling it wisely, the Jedi became vulnerable to their own limitations. They war with the fearsome passions that it gives off, and together with the Jedi Academies, were not a particularly isolated place to avoid everything that the Code proclaims. Many Jedi realized the denial of the Order's evolution in their words. Whether in the end, his actions had an altruistic or selfish background, that is not known. However, it's no coincidence that even one of the founders, the Master Rajvari, and along his followers have fallen into the temptation of the teachings of the dark side in the so-called Force Wars, being the first confrontation between the light side and the dark side. The clearest example of this was in the times of Xander and Ardenlin, with their curiosity being suppressed by higher-ranking Jedi Masters. Xander wanted a diverse study, expanding to different perspectives in various organizations that also studied the Force as the Jedi Order itself. Organizations such as the Ainti Monks, Varandos Sages of Dorin, the Miraluka, and the Matukai. The information and wisdom from a single place becomes like a well without tributaries, stagnant and limited. There is no flow that keeps it in constant movement. The Xander conflict became known as the First Great Schism in the year 24,500 before Battle of Yavin, a tragic event that apparently, having good intentions of expanding the Order's vision of the Force, ended up corrupting Xander and many Jedi who considered themselves brothers and sisters, and due to ideological changes, they had to fight to the death, where even the Jedi Danzigora Potts shared his ideas regarding the conflict, revealing that he apparently may have lost faith in the Order in his last seconds of life during his deathbed. It was approximately 17,500 years after the First Great Schism, during the year 7003 before Battle of Yavin, that the Second Great Schism took place. Between the two schisms, there is a very particular contrast. Xander's schism at the beginning had good intentions. He was looking for a different interpretation of the Force, without prejudices of good and evil or light and darkness. Rather, he was looking for a perspective not seen by the Jedi, with a different dynamic, like the anti-monks, where they understand the Force as a rainbow. That is, without pigeonholing into black or white, the Force was found in a broad spectrum and could be classified into different ranges of understanding of the Force. However, on the other hand, the disparity with the Second Schism lies in its cause, where selfishness and the desire to play at being a supreme being was the main driving force of the movement, being disguised with the attempt to expand the knowledge of the Force by part of some Jedi. Inside the Jedi ranks, the most dedicated students and those strongest in the Force formed the basis of the Jedi, and it wasn't long before they began to develop the techniques necessary to draw upon the Force and manipulate its energy. Through the Force, the Jedi learned to see faraway places without the need for scanners. They uncovered methods that allowed them to move objects with only the Force and their own strength of will. They learned to influence the thoughts of others and to let the Force add speed and power to everything they did. Even the best intentions sometimes go astray, and no one is immune to temptation. So, it was that a few Jedi began to use the Force for their own gain. These individuals ignored the restrictions regarding the dark side and accepted the easy path to power. Dark and fallen Jedi, while few and far apart, always posed a danger to the Jedi Order and the galaxy at large. The faction of this group of corrupted Jedi were able to see that by using the dark side they could expand their abilities with the Force. With their new powers, they experimented with various forms of life, thus being able to manipulate them, and even given life to abominations such as animals transformed into monstrosities. Committed to this cause, the Dark Jedi persuaded various fellow Jedi within the Order to follow them into a life free of limitations. The power that those who embraced the dark side in all its splendor had been able to unlock was terrifying but surprising. According to the Jedi renegades, the Jedi Order had sailed into shallow waters, and by venturing into the expanse of the Force they gained powers that no Jedi had ever seen before. Bending the Force itself, use of arcane practices to create, corrupt, alter, and prolong life, the ability to control nature itself, being able to invoke natural phenomena such as lightning, or powers with a level so high that they could give life to completely dead worlds. Life itself was at the command of each one of them. However, the denial of these heroes and heretical actions was present. The rumor that spread throughout the Order of improper actions being carried out at the expense of the Force itself was real. The curiosity had gone beyond what was known. The Jedi rejected this power, and according to the heretical Jedi, they resisted any improvement, and it was the same Order who again made the same mistake, causing a schism in their own ranks. It was thus that the Dark Jedi realized that the annihilation of the Order must be carried out, otherwise the pattern will continue to repeat itself forever. What started as a difference in perspective will soon grow into something greater. Within the ranks of the Order among its members, the tragedy of 5 great Jedi figures who had fallen into these practices was counted, their losses being a shame for the Order. The high-ranking Jedi condemned the actions related to the dark side, and the new direction that the Dark Jedi had chosen could be taken as a dream of what Xander once had. They will be the heirs of the ideological change that the Order needed, and without any limitation, the desertion of the Order was inevitable. However, as happened with Xander in the First Great Schism when he opened his own academy, the Legionary Academy on the planet Leto, the Jedi knew that a threat was growing and will remain latent. The discomfort within the Order due to knowing that elsewhere there was a current contrary to them was palpable. Finally, the Second Great Schism culminated what everyone tacitly knew: an open conflict. The war that followed lasted more than a century, left many worlds ravished in its wake, and it became known as the 100-Year Darkness.